Welcome to the TCG Compass podcast, presented by Amber Grading, a mostly weekly discussion on trading card games and the people who love them.
I'm your host, Daniel, and I'm joined today with my co-host, Grant.
Hi there.
Today's show, we're going to be talking about why we love trading card games.
Yeah, TCGs, or trading card games, have been a huge part of our lives for decades. Why do we love them, and which ones do we care the most about?
It's a great question, Grant. When did you first start playing TCGs?
It was in middle school. So back in the day, right, when you graduate from elementary school in 6th grade, you often go to another school in 7th where you got to make new friends and, get to know new people. And the friends that I made at that school introduced me to Magic, and it was something that we played on benches and, on kind of the lunch table and things like that. They, got me like a starter deck. We played with each other's cards all the time, and we used to go to a place called Stadium Sports Cards about 15 minutes from our school.
It's pretty cool. And you grew up in Hawaii, right?
I did, and the Magic scene has always been pretty exciting here. Not so much on the competitive level, but a lot of the local game stores carry Magic and have hosted tournaments and pre-releases for as long as I can remember.
Did you destroy a lot of card backs on the playground? For
sure. And the funny thing is, I remember the face of the card being the important part, right? As long as you could read it and you would try not to nick the corners on the front, but the backs were all just like destroyed. All those like cement worn backs that you see today, some of those cards were probably mine back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like usually a rubber band or a really beat deck box that you use to keep your deck in and bring it from class to class, throwing in your backpack between games.
I remember some people bringing their cards to school in a Ziploc bag.
Oh yeah, the old Ziploc bag deck protector.
How about you? When did you start playing any TCGs?
Well, I started with Magic back in 1993. My cousin was really big into it, came over one weekend, showed my brother how to play, and then he ended up teaching me how to play, and then I started teaching all of my friends, and that's pretty much every single friend I have plays either Magic or Pokemon or some TCG, so it's been a pretty integral part of my life. But I started with just playing any green deck that I could get, so really basic stuff, Killer Bees, like a Ornithopter with a Rancor on it, like pretty much anything that got in fast with flying, like that's where I was at.
Nice. I think one of my early decks was definitely like in that green stompy kind of format where you had like Ancient Silverback and, kind of like these big green creatures up the curve. And yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember just being absolutely in love with Force of Nature, just wanting one so bad. But I think at the time it might have been an $8 card, and just no way I could afford it. But I think that's probably why later in life I started becoming a collector and an investor and just like picking up some of these cards that really had a lot of nostalgic value for me.
Yeah, same here, actually. One of my good friends, his favorite card growing up was Lightning Dragon. And we had built a deck and played it for forever, and eventually it rotated and whatnot. And recently, he and I met up again and started, chatting and everything. And for his birthday, I got him a pre-release promo stamped Lightning Dragon. That's kind of like that nostalgia trip.
Yeah, that's actually one of the first foil cards. I think it might have been the first pre-release foil card too. It's a pretty awesome card, and it's actually spiked in value pretty steeply in the last few years.
Yeah.
It was mostly unknown card. Not unknown, but like nobody really cared about it. But like having that stamp, I think it was like 1998, it's the Urza Saga pre-release promo. It's a beautiful card.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what other games do you play? I know you like to collect Pokemon. Are you into anything else?
Mostly Magic and Pokemon. Pokemon never played the game too much. Mostly just collected it. I remember going to the the local convenience store basically, and they had first edition packs and base set packs, Jungle and Fossil, and we would go there, every so often and pick up a pack or two back in the day, and it was just like a fun thing to do as kids.
How often, or rather, how many times a day do you wish that you could go back in time and just like grab as many of those boxes as you can and just like throw them into a storage unit?
I don't know if that actually would have hurt the nostalgia, if I just thought about it in my, I don't know, what is it, 10-year-old self to like, just hoard it and never open it. Like, I really enjoyed kind of like seeing the art and like playing with the cards. Because I think we did actually play the game a little bit back then because it was new and shiny, right? But yeah, I think my love for both Pokemon and Magic has really been through playing the card game and collecting. So I don't really regret not stowing away those things because I don't think it would have the same intrinsic value to me as it does today.
So do you play competitively now?
Not so much. Like I'll hop on Magic Arena, right? The digital version of the game. I play Magic the Gathering online when they have Vintage Cube. It's always a fun format to play. But since Corona, we haven't really had the ability to play too much competitive Magic. How about you?
Yeah, pretty much got shut down by COVID. I do go to my LGS twice a week. I play Wednesday Standard, Fridays Modern, and then I draft a lot on Arena, usually a few times a week in the evening. But yeah, it's been really hard to play competitive ever since the coronavirus hit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's weird though. You would think that with all of this going on, Magic and other trading card games would really see a dip in demand and desirability, and the exact opposite has been true. And I think part of that is because everybody had a chance to go through their closets and go through their stuff, and they get to find their old cards and relive that nostalgia and realize how much they actually loved having these card games in their lives. And I think we're seeing a revival of sorts for TCGs.
Yeah, I think, during the pandemic, some people chose to renovate their kitchen and other people bought more Magic cards.
Yeah, Magic or Pokemon. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Did you ever play competitively? Do you have like an event or, a tournament that you remember really well?
Ooh, okay, so I think my first like big pre-release that I went to was Legions. So leading up to that set, we played like little small in-store pre-releases, but nothing like on the scale of 100 people in like a ballroom, like all together seeing cards from the set for the first time, which is something that we don't get today because we have spoiler season and everything. There was something just so novel about like, all right, someone's mom picks, we all meet at someone's house and someone's mom drives us over, to the ballroom. We sign up and we just start opening up our packs and building a deck. And Legions was interesting because it was an all creature set. So there were no like instants or sorceries and everything, and it was just kind of like this really nutty like thing where every creature did something basically to kind of like replace the spells that weren't printed in the set. And it was kind of the amazing part was just seeing everybody all in one place, right? Up until that point, we played in our tiny little local game store where we would have like 8-person pods that we would play in. And to see like 100+ people in one place was just mind blowing to me as a kid. How about you? Where did you is there a tournament that really sticks in your mind?
Yeah, I played in my first tournament when I was 10. So at a place called Big Kids to Comics. As the store doesn't exist anymore, it's in Tucson, and all my friends would go down there. And tournament is kind of a loose term because there wasn't there's type 1, type 2, type 1.5, whatever. But like none of us really cared. We didn't even have a judge, so it was kind of like you put 60 cards together, you shuffled them up, and then you played. You didn't even need to have sleeves. I actually have one of my first decks this is the deck that I played in that tournament, and it was, like I was saying, just like beater green cards, really early on. And, I think I did really well just because I got a lot of damage in really early. Everybody was trying to do something like complex and cool, and I was just trying to get 20 damage in as quickly as possible. And I actually ended up winning a deck box, and I still have it. It's that the green one behind me on the shelves. And, just like really cool memories of going in, and obviously like an inflated sense of success because it's like, wow, I did this, it's amazing. And then, people realized how to play, with counter magic and board sweepers, and, the meta changed pretty rapidly and people started getting better. But back in the day, there was no net decking, it was, you just showed up with your cards, and you hope that your deck was better than everybody else's. Maybe you play tested with your friend, or you goldfished at home, just like trying to play two decks at the same time and like jumping over, and it was good times.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of like cool little brews that people put together just because like you said, the prevalence of the internet wasn't there where people were sharing deck ideas and whatnot, and I really enjoyed kind of that part of it because especially like we played through Saga Block and Mercadian Mass Block, so you saw like bargain decks right in that super high powered Saga Block, and then you kind of see all the cards get banned, but we're guys who play at school, we don't care about a ban list, right?
Yeah.
And then we go like into Mass Block and we play things like Rebels, right? There were a lot more tribes that were a lot of fun to play. So, it was
Rebels, awesome deck.
It was such a fun time because you kind of saw the hierarchy of what was strong, but you kind of didn't know like if there was something better than it out there because you kind of had your own little group that you played with.
Yeah. I think I played Delrake during that time. And the whole point was get your Rampart Crawlers out, sacrifice them, and just like throw your turn 2 Delrake out or turn 3 Delrake out, and then hope your opponent didn't have any way to get rid of it, and win really fast or sit there doing nothing for most of the game.
I remember Blastoderm being like the scourge of that format too, just because it's like we can't interact with this card.
Yeah, it's 4 mana 5/5. Like good luck.
Did you play all the way through, like from when you started all the way till now?
So I took a little break in high school and the first couple years of college. I didn't play, mostly because I didn't have money or really time to. I was working full time and going through school. But towards the end of my college career, I started picking it back up, and I got really into it and started going more competitive in terms of like trying to win tournaments. And I got really into draft at that point too, mostly because it was a more accepted format at the time. It was really supported, and I actually had the money to play in it, which was the big thing. But what about you?
So when I went off to college in Chicago, didn't play Magic for a couple of years while I was there. Then, some freshmen came in, I think my junior year, and they were like, oh yeah, we love Magic too. So I said, okay, next time I go home, I'll pick up all my deck boxes and we'll bring it over and we'll like play. So we did that, and that kind of like rekindled a lot of, the love for Magic. But it was kind of like it was a type 2 scenario where we didn't really keep up with what was, in standard at the time. And it was just like, we just played, had a good time. And I actually left all my decks up there for other people to play too. But when I moved back, I graduated in 2009. So kind of like financial crisis kind of time. So I actually sold off my entire collection that I had still back at home to help like pay down my student loans. So I kind of took a break, and then in like Shadows over Innistrad, I came back, and that's when you and I met.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that. We were exchanging a full set of dual lands, some revised and some unlimited ones.
Yeah, I had this crazy idea when, I was working like a pretty stable job. I said, how can I diversify like what I put my money into, like, obviously 401k and stuff. And I said, well, how about I just buy a dual land every month and, kind of see where it goes from there. And then at some point, like, I'll stop buying them. And then I never really did. Like, I just kind of bought one every month. And then there was a time where I had a little bit more money saved up, and you were looking to like swap out your dual lens from your cube, and you posted it, and I was like, hey, how about we do this? And I think I paid you in like 2 installments or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I might as well like pick up all of these. They were in pretty good condition and everything. And I was like, this will be, that'll satiate that for a little bit. I think the very next month I went to buying 1 dual line a month again. And I was like, all right, this is getting out of control.
It's probably looking pretty good in retrospect, though.
Yeah.
I know. Actually, it's kind of funny because I think that sale mostly covered the cost of a complete set of collector's edition, which is what I used in my cube. So I had the full Power 9, I had a full set of dual lands, and the whole thing cost me like maybe $1,200. So I was like, all right, I sell my dual lands, I use that to get a collector's edition set. They look great, they're pretty cheap, they're not worth much, but it's something I can throw in there and not really worry about. And then, fast forward, 5-6 years, and now collection edition sets are through the roof in value, and everybody's trying to get a set of Power 9 from there.
Yeah, and looking back on it, I think we both won out of that.
Oh
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. All right, I think that's about all the time we have for today. So, Grant, where can our viewers and listeners find you?
I'm on Instagram at Chuggy_Bear, and that's the same as my Twitter handle.
Awesome. To get in touch with us, see the episode description or head over to ambergrading.com/TCG Compass. We'd love to hear from you.
That's our show for today. Thanks for joining us for the TCG Compass podcast. I've been your co-host, Chuggy.
And I've been your host, Daniel. See you next time.
This has been the TCG Compass podcast, presented by Amber Grading. Thanks for listening. You can find us at ambergrading.com/TCG Compass, at Amber Grading on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, or drop us an email, tcgcompass@ambergrading.com.